Welcome to the ZIT studio. We have Tayga Baltacıoğlu, the co-founder of Debite, today here with us. Hello, Tayga.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Thank you so much for inviting me here.
It's good to have you here. I know a lot about your company and your successful background, but I'm sure our audience would like to hear that hear that from you as well.
Sure. When I was a kid, I was playing volleyball in a professional level, like joined to the national
Mhm.
team, joined to the tournaments and that kind of stuff. Then I realized that my passion is about businesses. So I joined my mother's restaurant back in 2011, which was my first professional career. So I was helping them to run the restaurant, which is a pretty big one back in Turkey. Then I joined to a kind of an M&A process into that traditional and very conventional business. We sold the company to a big chain, and then I realized I need to do my own business. I cannot join to other businesses and work in the teams and that kind of stuff. So I started to build a home services marketplace called Mutlu Bir Ev at that time. We scaled into 4 different countries, 15 different cities. At the field, I think we had around 15,000 cleaning professionals joined to the system, and we had a very scalable process. We raised money from VCs, angel investors, scaled the team up to 90 people, and then COVID hits. After the COVID hits, we realized that like it's a very tough business to do. And back in 2021 August, I like put my CEO hat aside and then joined Debite to build up the future of SME financing.
Wow, we have a real entrepreneur here
Yeah,
right
serial
now.
entrepreneur, exactly.
So how do you differentiate your company from the other side, from other players in the ground right
Yeah,
now?
so there are lots of expense management solution companies, there are lots of like lending companies, but I believe we find a very good niche for startups because we know what startups needs. We are three co-founders. Each of us is dealing with some different elements in the company. One of us is dealing with the risk side because he was working at JP Morgan for the last 12 years as a risk and investment banker. Engin is taking care of the product and tech side, and I'm taking care of all the other stuff that the CEO does. So those particular issues helping us to build a very easy and sustainable business model for startups to do instant installments for their purchases about like let's say inventory or marketing campaigns or SaaS refinancing and that kind of stuff. So now when you look for the UK market, you cannot see any other competitor who is doing credit cards with an installment option.
Hmm.
That's what we do.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very different than the like usual ones that we are used to.
Exactly, but like coming from Turkey, like we have lots of different knowledges from the Turkish, let's say, banking market. So installments are pretty usual thing back in Turkey, but
Mm.
not that much in the UK.
Mhm.
So hopefully the things that we learned from Turkey is going to help us to build up something meaningful in the UK as well.
So this means that you have a big team as well, I guess, and like how many people are working in the company right now?
And now we raised our pre-seed round and we are around 13 people. Let's
Mhm.
say half of them back in Turkey.
Mhm.
The software development team, product team, they are based in Turkey, and the other half is in London with me.
Mhm.
So our goal is to scale up to 25, 30 people at the end of 2022.
Mhm.
But now we just like launch the product, getting lots of tractions from our customers, learning new stuffs, and helping them to build up a better product for them.
And how do you find these talents?
Ah, how we find it, one is obviously for the Turkish roots, we can easily attract lots of different Turkish talents because we based in Turkey, everyone knows each other. But other than that, building a company culture who cares about the teammates and giving them an opportunity to take decisions and take the responsibility by their own is a pretty good stuff to offer to our customers. Obviously, we are paying the competitive salaries, giving them stock options and
Mhm.
everything. But I think the most important thing is to like if you're giving them responsibility, you need to give your teammates to take decisions by themselves as well. So if they are feeling like they're a part of a big team and they are just like impacting their
Mhm.
own businesses, you have a good retention and unique acquisition point for talents.
Absolutely. And what is the biggest risk for your business and like what makes you like what motivates you to get out of bed in the morning?
So basically, there are lots of risks, but the risk is we are tapping into an untapped market. So basically, if you're a startup in the UK, when you go to any traditional bank, they don't give you any credit cards, they don't lend you any money and that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. Not because they don't know, they just like don't give that importance to that type of businesses. So we are focusing on early stage companies. We have lots of assumptions, we have lots of data points, and we are gathering and we are learning so much things. But uh, like my biggest fear is you need to balance the whole platform because we are like borrowing money from debt funders and lending to our customers. So we know that there's a huge demand on borrowing side, but we need to be able to borrow with the equal fast as well. Imagine that you have an eligible customer who is looking for a funding from you, ask for the money, and when you check all the necessary things, they are eligible to get money, and you don't have enough money due to the high demand.
Mhm.
That's my biggest fear. So I'm always like trying to my best to borrow money from the like specialty lenders, high net worth individuals, family offices to sustain the business model.
Yeah, that makes sense. And when it comes to expansion, like, are you thinking about expanding to other countries other than Europe, or like, is it good
Yeah.
for now, like the UK market?
I think our next step is gonna be European market.
Mhm.
The most important thing is to have an open banking structure back in those countries, plus the risk assessment capabilities. So we are working with lots of different third-party companies to help us to understand the risk of the startups. I'm pretty sure that every single country in the EU needs that kind of products, but we need to go a bit slower to go fast in the near future. So now we are focusing on the UK.
Mhm.
I think in the second half of 2023 we would be able to offer our services in EU in every
Mhm.
single country as well.
And it's a very different market. Like I experienced myself as well. That's why it's
E-
it's a totally different market, UK and
Exactly,
the
exactly.
European
But
Union.
like for my previous company, we expanded into Italy, Spain, and the UK at the same time, like say in a 1.5 year process. So we know what they need because as a customer, we needed that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
So that if you can build up a scalable model and something desirable for the startups, they all need money. They
Mhm.
all need to grow. They all need to cut expenses. So we are here there for them to
Mhm.
help them to go faster, to go further, and with a better unit economics, let's say.
I see. So when will Debite reach the break-even point, and like what is break-even point for you?
Yeah. Uh, we are not even like thinking about how to reach the break-even
Mhm.
point. Now it's just like selecting the university of an unborn child.
Mhm.
So now our biggest aim is to achieve product market fit. Like the product that we created is good enough for the customers that we are looking for. That's what we are looking for. So because of that, the retention levels, the let's say the increase of the net revenue and everything is just like right now in our radar. So break even, not that much, but having a sustainable platform
Mhm.
in the unit economics side is super important for us. Imagine that we are borrowing with, let's say, 8% and lending with 6%, so we are losing 2% in every single transaction. No way. We don't do that. We don't like growth no matter what is not working right now, so that the unit economics of the company should work pretty good. But at the other side, we can easily say that, yeah, whatever we are doing, we are going to burn more because we need to have more market share, we need to have more customers, we need to understand them better. So now
Mhm.
we have a really, really long path in front of us. But let's say in the next 4 to 5 years, yeah, we can build up something very scalable and at the same time profitable as well.
Great. And on in your spare time, what do you read or listen to?
Well, it's hard to get a, let's say, free time because
Yeah.
of the business, and I have a daughter recently, which
Oh,
becomes one. So all my free times are with her, let's say, because we are walking, we are just like sharing
maybe
time together.
stories then.
Exactly like that. But the time that I'm walking to my office and office to my home, I'm always listening some podcasts.
Mhm.
So all in one is a pretty good one. And like now. The only thing matters for me to understand more about the fintech side, the risk side. So whatever, like let's say articles related with those things, I'm
Mhm.
reading. I'm like trying. It's
Mhm.
like a university for me.
Yeah, and like as an investment company employee, I would like to hear this question's answer actually. What do you invest in and how do you invest
Mhm.
in?
Normally, I invest in talent because
Mm.
that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So they need to be able to financially, let's say, okay for do whatever they want. They need to improve themselves. So our biggest investments are talents, but then our investment into our company and for me as well because I need to be able to lead my team in a very good path because they need to be inspired by the founders and like the CEO of the company. So I'm trying to do that. Other than the Debite, my investments are pretty long term. I'm
Mhm.
investing, doing some pretty small angel
Mhm.
investments to the people that I know personally, and then if I'm doing some public investments, it's just like the companies that I used before for
Mhm.
my previous company or this one, and like say excited about the products. I say, yeah, this is a pretty good one. I need to be
Mhm.
able to buy those shares and be a part of it.
Mhm.
That's what I do.
The brands that you're familiar with, like, is more,
Exactly.
yeah,
If they are building up a
trustworthy. Yeah.
product that excites me, it might excite other people as well. So that's why the
Mhm.
products that I use, I invest.
And besides your business goals, do you have any aspirations to touch people's lives with Debite?
Um, with Debite is something very different story
Mhm.
because we all know, like we are covering, if you are older than 3 months in your business, we can easily like support you with something, at least £5,000. So we see the growth of the early stage companies, and by the time they are growing, we are growing as well because our growth is depending on our customers' growth. If they're spending more, if they're earning more, our revenues are going up as well. So helping them to go to a a place that they feel more comfortable, they build a sustainable business. It shouldn't be, it's not all high growth tech companies, it's like small businesses, small startups, bootstrapped ones. So we see how we affect their cash flow and how we are helping them when no one helps them. It's a good differentiation point as
Mhm.
well because we are telling them that when no one cares, we care.
Mhm.
So when you are growing, we can grow with you and we can support you with different type of products as well so that you don't need to go to another competitor or big traditional bank when you're 3 years old, 4 years old company. We can easily fill up the gaps and help you to grow faster on those terms as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. And as a very young co-founder,
Mm.
who are you grateful for becoming to this position in your life and in your company?
Yeah, like every single mistake, every single good connection and bad connection is helping me to become a better person.
Mhm.
I failed multiple times. I failed by investors, I failed by co-founders, I failed by my teammates on my private life as well. So I'm trying to learn and appreciate whatever they are teaching me. So the next time I won't do the same mistakes. I want take the say I need to take the right decisions. So that is helping me a lot. And I think I'm building up pretty good connections with my advisors, investors, friends, and everybody. So the good thing is I can call them anytime that I want
Mhm.
and they're helping me about the questions that I have, and we have a constant relationship with our investors. So it's a pretty good stuff because sometimes you feel alone or you're too close to the picture and you don't see the big picture. So you need to have somebody who's like one step aside and like helping you to see the big picture.
Yeah,
That helps a lot.
exactly. Someone needs to be there to show you the right direction sometimes.
Exactly like
Yeah.
that.
And this kind of gave the answer to my next question, but I just wanted to hear from you one more time. What is like, how would you define these words, growth and failure?
Failure is constant learning. So as a startup, you need to fail all the time, not in a big one. Like small failures are helping you to grow faster or very in a very sustainable way. So fail is just like a lifestyle. So it's totally okay for me. What was the other question?
Growth. Mm.
Uh, like without growth, I think the startups are losing lots of things. Like without growth means you're like losing your market share, you're losing your opportunities because when someone sees an opportunity that you're not fulfilling, their new customers are new companies are coming, competitors are looking for in that direction. So you need to grow all the time to fill those gaps and say, yeah, Debite is doing that. That's why we don't need to go into that vertical because it's too crowded, too competitive, and that kind of stuff. If you don't grow, if you just like stay in the same position, you're gonna die. That's for sure.
That's true. That's definitely true. Thank you very much for coming and joining us today. It was a pleasure having you here in the ZIT studio,
Thanks for
Targa.
inviting me again. It's a pleasure to meet with you again.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching us and see you in the next episode.